Hello everyone, welcome to the CTV News on Calabash TV and on the Wave Radio 94.5. I am Lisa Joseph. Concerning news gripping the Caribbean, the U.S. Seismic Research Center, the SRC, has heightened the alert level at underwater volcano Kikamjeni to orange, which means it could start erupting within less than a day's warning after strong continuous signals were recorded in the early hours of Thursday morning. In an advisory posted on its website and on social media, the center said that from 1:25 a.m. to 3 a.m., a strong continuous signal was observed on instruments monitoring the submarine volcano, which is located 8 kilometers north of Grenada. Signs of elevated seismic earthquakes began on the 11th of July and continue to be present. For the period since the 11th of July, a total of more than 200 micro and small earthquakes of varying magnitudes have been recorded, with the largest prior to the strong signal less than magnitude 3.0, the Trinidad-based SRC reported. It added that divers had also observed degassing occurring of the west coast of Grenada in the Molinaire Sculpture Park area. This activity is being closely monitored by the UE Center, and further updates will be issued as more information becomes available, the center added. An orange alert, according to the center's website, is issued when there is highly elevated levels of seismic or other unusual activity. In this case, eruption may begin, as we said, within less than 24 hours notice. So, what's the situation over in Grenada? Our newsroom monitored reports from K105 in Grenada on the developments surrounding the underwater volcano Kikamjeni. There were fears earlier Thursday that increased seismic activity would result in a more violent eruption and possible tsunami. A press release from the seismic unit of the University of the West Indies sought to allay the fears of not just Grenada but neighboring islands of a pending tsunami.
As a consequence, there's no need to move people away from the coastlines. Lloyd Lynch, researcher at the Trinidad-based center, briefed disaster management officials in Grenada on Thursday afternoon. He told an emergency meeting of the National Emergency Advisory Committee at NADMA headquarters that more minor eruptions can be expected before the system goes back to sleep. But he noted that the undersea volcano remains well below the surface, which cancels out any threat of a major tsunami. Earlier, the Seismic Research Center issued an orange alert regarding the status of Kikamjeni volcano. Orange alert means highly elevated level of seismic activities consistent with the small tremors which have been occurring over the past 2 weeks. Orange alert also means that all ships must stay outside of the 5-kilometer exclusion zone of Kikamjeni. Currently, the volcano is most dangerous for ships and boats since the gases released by Kikamjeni can lower the density of the water, causing them to sink even if it is not erupting. The Seismic Center of the University of the West Indies is constantly monitoring the situation, and should there be a change in the current status, immediate advisories will be issued. The people of Grenada should be careful to take note of only official advisories on the matter, which, if needed, will come from the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA. Please note, there's no need for panic, and people should go about their daily lives as per usual. People should go about their daily lives as normal.
And an official of Grenada's National Emergency Advisory Committee called a press conference Thursday afternoon to assure Grenadians that the government was in close contact with experts from UE and other monitoring agencies and would take decisions in the best interest of the country, and especially those in areas close to Kikamjeni.
To all the people of Grenada, Carriacou and Petermanic, we have been informed that over the last couple of hours, there had been some measure of anxiety, fear, and even panic within the nation because of some news that there is a pending eruption or a tsunami at Kikamjeni here in Grenada. We believe as a responsible government that we have an obligation to inform you, the nation, and to, of course, calm your fears wherever necessary and appropriate. Having said this, we want to say that we need not be complacent, although we have been assured that nothing serious is about to happen. But you know, when you're dealing with nature, as it said, you just never know what can happen.
Also at that press conference was Lloyd Lynch, a researcher at the Trinidad-based center. Just moments before he briefed disaster management officials in Grenada, he said they are yet to confirm that the seismic activity was indeed caused by an eruption. He confirmed there was no immediate threat to Grenada, but cautioned marine interests in the vicinity of Kikamjeni.
The Kikamjeni volcano is one of the most active systems in the region. It's a submarine system located about 9 kilometers off the north coast of Grenada. That's just outside Sauterres. But as I say, we still have not confirmed that it was an actual eruption. We suspect that it was, because the signature of the seismic signals are very similar to eruptions that took place in 2001, which was the last time that the system erupted. Since that episode that lasted for about an hour this morning, the system has ramped down back to the pre-515 level, in which we are still getting a number of small earthquakes. When I left this morning, there were like about 4 or so per hour. We will continue to liaise with the government, and they will use that information to make decision as to the risk that the system poses to the residents of Grenada. As I say, we are of the view that the system does not, in its present configuration, pose large-scale danger to coastal community. Our findings have shown that the major risk is to the marine community, those boats that ply between Grenada and the Grenadines. Because of the increased level of activity, there is now likely that in an eruption episode, the system may have the capability to throw ballistics within an area of about 1.5 to 3 kilometers. So for that reason, that area should be avoided. While the system is not erupting, it also can pose a risk to the sailing public, because it degasses, and this may alter the density of the water. So those are the main risk that the system, or hazard that the system poses at present to the public, the marine community.
And as indicated earlier, the unfolding situation with Kikamjeni is causing concern across the region, especially in the Eastern Caribbean. Here in St. Lucia, the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, is keeping abreast of the situation. Velda Joseph is the director of NEMO.
Seismic has indicated to me that the cycle of eruption of Kikamjeni points to the fact that it erupts every 10 to 11 years or so. The last eruption was in 2001. So really and truly, it is not surprising that you have this heightened activity around Kikamjeni. But in general, again according to seismic, the eruptions for Kikamjeni has been contained below the surface. The biggest threat right now is for shipping within the immediate vicinity of that underwater volcano. But of course, you spoke about concerns for us. We always need to be vigilant. An eruption from Kikamjeni, as we know, has the potential for causing tsunami. And so persons along the coast, you need to remain very vigilant, you're very observant, and you need to listen to the releases that are coming from the National Emergency Management Organization. We continue to monitor the situation.
Ms. Joseph says there is no need for public panic. The information is being shared, she stressed, for public awareness.
Well, if we were to have the eruption of Kikemjeni, the threat for us would be that of a tsunami. And of course, because of the proximity of Grenada to St. Lucia, what we advise is that you run. You run to higher grounds. In some cases, persons who can't go very far in, you can go up as well as far up. Level 3, level 4, level 5, according to whatever building you're in. But you move away as quickly as you can from the coastline. Run, run, run.
And when we had the unprecedented, 6 earthquakes thereabout, and I think that number was increased to about 20, in subsequent quakes that was felt with St. Lucia and the rest of the East Caribbean, including Barbados. But there was an indication that it was these quakes were not somehow related to Kikemjeni. Is that still the thought in the scientific community?
That is still the thought. In fact, they have not confirmed that there is any relation to the earthquake activity and the elevated activity pertaining to Kikemjeni. And so I will rely on further updates from the SRC before we can, seek to put any correlation between the two.
But we have had further quakes since last Thursday, and I believe that we also had a few on Monday evening. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have had further quakes off the coast of Barbados, northeast of Barbados, which is where the original ones on the 16th occurred. We have had further quakes, as you rightly confirmed. But again, the Seismic Research Center has not indicated any correlation between those quakes and what is happening with Kikemjeni.
Now, there have been other monitoring interests, including from the United States. They have been observing Kikemjeni for several years, and also they shared a concern that a massive tsunami can occur and affect the eastern part of the United States. We hear more in this report from ABC News.
We're 6,000 feet under the Caribbean Sea, in the darkest corners of the Kikemjeni volcano. The mission to save lives by better understanding the mysteries of what causes underwater earthquakes. Scientists say the menacing Kikemjeni could cause a deadly tsunami. It's the final 48 hours of a 150-day voyage of discovery on board the exploration vessel Nautilus with one of the most famous explorers in the world.
And I always like to say that my greatest discovery is the one I'm about to make.
Dr. Robert Ballard, the man who found the Titanic 12,000 feet underwater.
4.5.
Now he's setting his sights on something new, the most dangerous and active undersea volcano just off American shores in the Caribbean.
This is the most hazardous part of our planet, is where plates are head-on at it. A classic example, the earthquake we had in Japan recently. The earthquake and tsunami effect that occurred in Indonesia in the Indian Ocean, where hundreds of thousands of people died.
The conditions are so dangerous to man, Dr. Ballard and his team are relying on Hercules, a 5,000-pound submersible, to be their eyes and ears inside the volcano.
What does a robot like this cost?
Oh, that's probably $3.5 million.
Wow.
Let's see who else is in there.
The team has already spent 5 months at sea. This is the season's final dive.
And you'll see that line on the bottom of the ocean?
As Hercules descends, I join Dr. Ballard in the ship's control room to watch the live cameras that are 6,000 feet underwater.
So now we're reaching the top of the volcano.
We're in it. We're inside the crater. You can see us surrounded by, we're inside.
On its journey, Hercules is doing more than taking breathtaking pictures. It's collecting samples, making maps, and even reaching right into the volcano's plume. After hours of searching, a startling discovery. life.
Oh, that's perfect. Stop right there.
What could this potentially mean?
Well, in this particular case, it means that places that we thought there was very little life existing on our planet, we've just opened up a whole nother area where life seems to be thriving.
That is an alien from another planet.
Not expecting to find life, the scientists are hoping that this discovery is a small clue for better understanding these deep-sea habitats.
A lot of the deep sea is sort of like, you can think of it as a desert. We just found an oasis.
After a 6-hour dive, Hercules is back on the Nautilus, where it reveals its treasures to the scientists on board.
These are the chemosynthetic mussels that we just collected, and they seem larger than the ones we picked up a couple days ago.
I hear you caught a record mussel.
Yeah, 14. He's got it right here.
Wow. Before this, what was the largest ever found?
13. So 13 by an inch.
Wow.
Dr. Ballard hopes these and future discoveries will unlock the mysteries of that monster lurking under the sea, the Kikum-Jenny volcano.
The key is to just be full of wonder and wanting to know about the planet on which we find ourselves. And when you open your eyes and you start to wonder what's over the horizon, I just can't wait to know what's over there.
For Nightline, I'm Gio Benitez aboard the Nautilus in the Caribbean Sea.